Chapter 1621. The group continued their exploration, unsure of how long it would take to find an exit. After about an hour, a faint sound echoed through the passageway. If they hadn't been paying close attention, they might have missed it. Stop! Benjamin's ears perked up as he ordered everyone to remain silent. He carefully listened to the direction of the sound and noticed some movement. Ethan heard it too. He turned to Benjamin and whispered, "Mr. Graham, it seems like there's someone over there." It was unclear whether they were friends or foes. They could also be Kingsley and his group. "Let's go take a look," Benjamin said in a deep voice, taking the lead in that direction. "Mr. Graham, it might be better if I take some men to check, just to be safe," Ethan advised Benjamin, suggesting that Benjamin should wait while he went ahead with the team. "Don't worry about it." Benjamin was not intimidated by such a trivial matter. After all, he had already come this far and was curious to see who was playing tricks. When Ethan saw that he couldn't dissuade Benjamin, he had no choice but to urge everyone to stay close to him, ensuring his safety. "When will we finally get out of here? Where did those people go? They suddenly disappeared. Could it be that we've seen a ghost?" The closer they walked, the clearer the sound from the wall became. It sounded like Kingsley's voice. Ethan's eyes lit up as he exchanged a glance with Benjamin. "Mr. Graham, it sounds like Mr. Watts." Upon hearing the voice, Benjamin also felt that it was Kingsley, so he raised his hand to make a signal. Ethan understood Benjamin's intention and knocked a few times on the wall. It was their secret code. "Hey, Jack, do you hear that?" The excitement in Kingsley's voice was audible on the other side. After waiting for a few brief seconds, Ethan received a signal in return. "It really is Mr. Watts and his group," Ethan exclaimed excitedly, raising his voice to shout toward them. "Is that you, Mr. Watts? This is Ethan. Are you with Jack?" "Ethan, it's Ethan. Ethan, it's me. I'm with Jack." Kingsley was beyond excited, first speaking to Jack, then responding to Ethan. "Search around the area, see if we can meet up with them," Benjamin commanded, signaling the bodyguards to look for a passage. "Yes, Mr. Graham." Everyone dispersed to search for the exit of the passageway. Kingsley and Jack were also searching for a passage to meet up with their team, but they just couldn't find it. The basement seemed like a labyrinth, and they had been wandering around in it for several days. "Then, is Benjamin here too? This place is like a maze. We've been trapped here for many days." Kingsley knocked on the wall, calling out to the other side. "See if you can break through the wall closest to them." Benjamin surveyed the surroundings, noticing that the walls were all made of mud instead of being plastered with cement. Fortunately, it seemed it would be quite easy to break through. As the place was full of contraband, detonating an explosion was impossible, as it would pose a threat to their lives. Everyone began to take action, digging and smashing, eager to quickly break through the wall. "What is that noise?" Kingsley was puzzled on the other side. "Benjamin, are you there? Benjamin, step back. They are breaking the wall." Benjamin finally responded to Kingsley. "Damn, it really is Benjamin. I knew I didn't mishear his voice. He really came. He came to find us. I'm so touched." Kingsley was a mess of snot and tears, leaving Jack speechless. Mr. Graham was simply concerned about potential issues and came to check. "Could you please not be so dramatic?" Jack, in reality, did not want Benjamin to come over. Now that they were all trapped here, it was evident that they had been set up. Kingsley pursed his lips, his face covered in dust and grime. "If we could communicate, I would prefer that he didn't come. Someone here is trying to harm us. It's not ideal that Benjamin is trapped here with us. We are unaware of which individual is plotting against us, but once we discover their identity, I promise I won't let them escape." Punishment. Chapter 1622. Strength in numbers quickly broke down the earthen wall. "Benjamin." Kingsley's eyes welled up with tears when he saw Benjamin. Benjamin gave him a look. Besides being covered in dust and dirt, he seemed unharmed. "Were you trapped here all along?" Ethan stared at Kingsley and Jack. Jack didn't fare much better and was in a similar condition to Kingsley. Both of them had parched lips, indicating that they had exerted a great deal of energy. Yes, we were chasing after the perpetrator when we ended up here. We have no idea who is secretly operating here. By the time we wanted to leave, all exits were blocked. It was as if they wanted to bury us alive in this place. Benjamin, someone definitely set us up, luring us in here. If anyone were to find us with the contraband, we'd be in serious trouble. We need to leave as soon as possible. Kingsley wasn't foolish. After being trapped inside for a few days, he had figured things out. Benjamin stared at him intently, then blurted out, "There's no time left." Huh, Kingsley was taken aback. He was about to ask where they had come from and if they had a way out, but then he heard a faint yet steady sound, seemingly coming from outside. Accompanying it was a thunderous rumble of a helicopter. No way, are we screwed? Kingsley widened his eyes, looking at Benjamin. Benjamin snorted, his voice icy as he spoke. They came later than I expected. Kingsley blinked his eyes. Has Benjamin known about this all along? Benjamin, is the army coming? What should we do? For a moment, Kingsley's mind went blank. If they were caught red-handed, it would be trouble. No sooner had Benjamin been trapped than the military arrived. It was clearly a setup. Stay right here. Benjamin sat down on the ground, leaving Kingsley and Ethan Jack utterly dumbfounded. Are we just going to wait here? Aren't we going to leave? Kingsley was quite anxious. By looking for a way out, they could at least have a chance to avoid trouble. By then, even if others wanted to frame them, they wouldn't be able to. Benjamin glanced at him, asserting, even if you find an exit now, do you think that no one will be waiting for you there with a gun to your head? Rather than wasting energy trying to find a way out, it would be more efficient to wait for the military to come. After considering Benjamin's words, Kingsley found them reasonable and decided to sit down as well. Fear you, Benjamin. With Benjamin around, Kingsley felt quite at ease. Benjamin was like a stabilizing anchor, remaining calm in the face of any danger. Unable to contain his curiosity, Kingsley probed, Benjamin, have you come up with a plan yet? No, Benjamin was incredibly calm, not flustered at all. Kingsley's mouth was agape as he stared at Benjamin in disbelief. Why are you not panicking at all? Could it be that this time, there is truly no hope for us? We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Benjamin remained utterly unmoved, calmly waiting for the other party to arrive. Kingsley looked toward Ethan and his group, who were equally out of ideas. They had been framed by others, and even though they were innocent, they were at a loss on how to defend themselves. If someone wants to condemn another, they can always find a reason. Benjamin, did you come here because you couldn't reach us? Kingsley began to blame himself. If Benjamin ended up in prison for this, he would never be able to forgive himself. It was entirely his fault for being foolish and inadvertently falling into someone else's trap. Enough with the nonsense. Benjamin gave him a stern look. Kingsley pursed his severely chapped lips and decided to remain silent. Upon seeing Kingsley's dispirited state, Benjamin's eyes filled with emotion. It had been many years since he had last seen Kingsley looking so dejected. Have some water. A bottle of water was tossed over, revitalizing Kingsley. Benjamin, I appreciate it. With a cheerful grin, Kingsley unscrewed the cap and began to drink the water with a gurgle. Did you find anything here? Benjamin asked, only after he had moistened his throat. Chapter 1623. It's all contraband. Kingsley recounted everything he had witnessed. However, Benjamin was already aware of those details, and there was no other useful information. Did you see anyone else here? Benjamin inquired. No, they must have fled a long time ago, or they're secretly plotting against us. There's not a single person in sight. We thought it was them approaching, but it turned out to be you guys, Benjamin. Kingsley frowned, looking quite upset. Benjamin's lack of surprise was within expectations, so he didn't react much. Benjamin turned to Jack, who also had no additional useful information, just like Kingsley. They even cleared out all the experimental data from the computers, leaving nothing behind. Kingsley glanced at Benjamin, realizing they had gotten themselves into big trouble this time. All right, Benjamin responded. With lowered eyes, he fell into deep thought. They didn't have to wait long before they were discovered by the opposing party. "Benjamin, how dare you manufacture contraband here? I want everyone here taken away immediately." The other party presented a document signed by Benjamin. Without any questioning, they promptly arrested them. "Guys, this is a sham. We didn't do it," Kingsley seethed with anger. He knew without a doubt that the document was forged. Benjamin would never engage in actions that would harm the nation. "Shut up, Kingsley," Benjamin reprimanded him, not wanting him to waste his energy. Kingsley looked at Benjamin in dismay. "Are we going to obediently go with them and be charged with baseless accusations in prison? Take them away." The leader looked at them smugly as each of them was apprehended. Back in Jocasta, Orissa headed straight for the Hoffman residence without stopping for a rest. Upon seeing the heavily guarded entrance, unease began to stir in her heart. Forcing their way in was no longer an option. Their numbers were too few, not to mention Jeremiah's special status. "Mrs. Graham, please wait in the car. I'll go ask around." Edwin advised her to stay out of sight as a precaution. They might not be able to leave once they entered, let alone attempt a rescue. Orissa nodded calmly, keeping her wits about her. "Be careful, Edwin. I know, they won't dare to do anything to an old man like me." Edwin got out of the car and walked towards the entrance. "I wish to see Mr. Hoffman." Edwin didn't beat around the bush and demanded to see Jeremiah. The guard at the entrance gave Edwin a stern look and stated, "Mr. Hoffman is not here." "Not here." Edwin furrowed his brow, glancing inside the mansion. Could it be that Jeremiah is using this as an excuse to avoid meeting us? "I serve the Graham family and have come from Delmore to take the children home," Edwin explained his purpose. Given his declaration, it was impossible for the Graham family to deny him entry. The guard glanced at him before responding, "I'll report it." Edwin stood at the door, waiting. Before receiving a response, he spotted Justin's figure. He squinted his eyes. Just as expected, Justin is here. If Jeremiah is truly here, then Justin must be the one who kidnapped the children. "I wonder how the two of them are faring now. Our butler would like you to come in." The guard responded to Edwin and escorted him inside. Edwin discreetly surveyed his surroundings. The security here was so tight that not even an insect could escape. Every 5 meters, there was a guard posted. It seemed as if there were even sentinels in the sky. Gideon stood by the door, waiting for Edwin. When he saw him, he greeted him with a warm smile. "Hello. I'm Gideon Hoffman, the butler. But everyone just calls me Gideon." They were both from the same generation. "I'm Edwin. Gideon, are the 2 kids of my employer here with you?" Edwin skipped the pleasantries and got straight to the point. "Yes, they are," Gideon replied, still smiling. He didn't feel the need to hide anything and graciously admitted it. He then invited Edwin inside and offered him a seat. "Please, make yourself comfortable. The kids should be playing in the yard." "I'll go and fetch them," Gideon said. Edwin nodded in agreement. Gideon instructed someone to prepare coffee for Edwin before he personally went outside to find the children. Chapter 1624. Edwin surveyed the room, contemplating the words that Gideon had just spoken. A sense of tranquility began to settle in his heart. Perhaps the children aren't locked up. While waiting, Edwin attempted to send a message to Orissa but was unsuccessful. The signal was blocked, which was not surprising considering Jeremiah's status. Edwin waited to meet the 2 children, while Orissa waited outside for updates from him. Seeing that he had been inside for quite some time without any news, she started to worry and decided to call Edwin. However, the call wouldn't go through. Orissa furrowed her brow. Edwin's cell phone signal was fine when he went in, but now he is unreachable. The signal must be blocked inside. She couldn't reach him on the phone and had no idea what was happening inside. All she could do was continue to wait. Instead, the children called her, and Orissa quickly answered. "Mommy, have you arrived in Jocasta yet? Gavin and Zachary are still in the same location." Oliver's voice came through, filled with urgency, as he was eager to know the latest on Gavin and Zachary. "We just arrived, and Edwin has gone in, but he hasn't come out yet. I'm at the main entrance, but there's no sign of Gavin and Zachary." Orissa felt that Edwin's intervention wouldn't make much of a difference. After all, Jeremiah had kidnapped the two children to intimidate Benjamin and her. Without the couple intervening, they certainly wouldn't be able to bring the children back. "Mommy, please be careful. Don't put yourself in danger. Jeremiah is extremely cunning, so don't show yourself unless absolutely necessary. Who knows, you might even get locked up if you go in." Oliver cautioned her, fearful that Orissa might impulsively rush in to save his brothers. "I understand. You guys take good care of yourselves. I have some matters to attend to over here. I'll call you when there's news." Orissa gazed inside, and as soon as she hung up the phone, she called Bradley, instructing, "Bradley, get ready." Dealing with Jeremiah couldn't be done in a conventional manner. Edwin had waited for about 20 minutes when he finally heard hurried footsteps approaching from outside. "Mr. Whitley," a voice was heard before anyone could be seen. Upon hearing the voice, Edwin turned around and saw Gavin and Zachary running toward him one after the other. He stood up to greet them. "Gavin, Zachary." Upon seeing the two kids lively and well, Edwin felt a sense of relief. If Jeremiah had dared to mistreat them, the Graham family would not have stood idly by. "Mr. Whitley, why did you come? Hurry and leave, or you'll be locked up." Zachary rushed to Edwin's side, anxiously reminding him of the danger. Edwin held them both with a smile, switching his gaze between the two. Even though it had only been a day since he last saw them, it felt like an eternity, and he was deeply concerned about them. "You're confined here, how could I not come? Since I'm already here, I'm not afraid of him." Edwin affectionately patted their little heads. As the two kids missed him dearly, their eyes were fixed intently on him. "Your mom has also arrived. She's waiting at the door for us," Edwin whispered to the two little ones before Gideon returned. "Mommy's here too." Gavin's eyes lit up, but then he grew worried. "Is Mommy all right?" "She's fine. I brought a doctor along. However, the signal here is blocked, so I can't notify her." Edwin sighed, but it had been agreed upon before he entered. If he couldn't get out within an hour, Orissa would leave because she couldn't just barge in. That cunning Jeremiah is such a sly character. He's determined to keep us trapped here. We can't let Mommy come in, or she'll be stuck too. Zachary furrowed his brow, his eyes darting around as he pondered how to alert Orissa. Upon hearing Zachary refers to Jeremiah as a sly character, Edwin found it quite amusing. "Have you actually met Jeremiah?" Both of the little ones nodded. Gavin informed Edwin, "We've encountered him. He returned this morning, but then he left again, so he's not here. We've been waiting all night." Zachary grumbled, "And now he's gone out again." Without Jeremiah, resolving the situation became quite challenging. Chapter 1625. Edwin gently patted their heads, and as he noticed others entering the room from the corner of his eye, he refrained from discussing anything sensitive. However, he still loudly asked the two little ones, "Did they hurt you when they brought you here?" Edwin carefully examined the two children, concerned that they might have hidden injuries. "The villains were rough when they captured us, but they didn't hit us." Zachary glanced at the door as he complained loudly. Edwin nodded, feeling somewhat relieved. Upon seeing Sean in the room as well, he sighed to himself. It was evident that escaping was not an option. "Let's try to go home." Even though Edwin knew it was unlikely, he still wanted to attempt it. "You cannot leave." Gideon glanced at Edwin, raising his hand to stop them. "Mr. Hoffman is not here, so you should stay for a while." Edwin narrowed his eyes, glaring at Gideon as he demanded, "What is the Hoffman family's intention in bringing the children here?" "I have come specifically to take them home. If you release them now, the Graham family will not hold this against you. However, if you continue to restrict our freedom, you would be crossing a line." The actions of the Hoffman family would determine whether they wanted to sever ties with the Graham family or maintain their relationship. "I's not as serious as you think. Mr. Hoffman had someone bring the two kids here because he wanted to get to know them. The misunderstanding was caused by his subordinates who didn't know any better." Gideon's explanation was clearly unconvincing. Sean settled onto the sofa, scoffing, "You call it a misunderstanding when it's clearly a kidnapping. If it truly was a misunderstanding, then why are we still being held here and not allowed to leave? Gideon was somewhat at a loss, touching his nose as he said, Mr. Hoffman always has his reasons. Sean snorted, too apathetic to argue further. Gideon was Jeremiah's subordinate and naturally defensive of his employer, so continuing the discussion seemed pointless. If you won't allow the children to return home, at least let him leave. By keeping everyone locked up here, are you intending to become enemies with the Graham family? Edwin stood his ground, representing the Graham family. Old Mr. Graham is still alive, yet Jeremiah has the audacity to act so recklessly. Calm down, Gideon reassured Edwin. Mr. Hoffman has stepped out for some business. Let's discuss it when he returns. HMPH. Edwin stormed off, still emanating an authoritative air. As it was rare to see Edwin lose his temper, both Gavin and Zachary were stunned. Mr. Whitley is indeed quite domineering. Have some coffee to calm your anger. Gideon maintained his politeness, never daring to offend them. Edwin glared at him. When will Jeremiah be back? Edwin knew that talking to Gideon was futile, and he could only wait for Jeremiah. Well, I'm not sure either. He's currently busy, so who knows? Gideon gave Edwin a look, implying that discussing military matters was not their place. Edwin gritted his teeth. Now that we're unable to leave, Mrs. Graham is surely worried. All right, I'll wait for him here, but I'd like to make a phone call to let my side know I'm safe. Edwin said, staring directly at Gideon. You're not guests, do you think you can do as you please? Once you're in here, don't expect too much, Justin interjected, speaking sarcastically. You are infringing upon our rights. Edwin's gaze turned icy cold, sending a chill down Justin's spine. Edwin was not someone to be trifled with in his youth, but he had since retired due to old age. Justin shrugged and replied, say whatever you want. It doesn't matter because you guys won't be able to leave. Edwin observed their reaction and then asked, aren't you concerned that if this information becomes public, it will damage Jeremiah's reputation? He quickly realized that they had no intention of letting him communicate with the outside world. Chapter 1626. You guys need to spread the word first, Justin taunted as he looked at Edwin. We didn't do anything. My uncle just invited these two kids over, and it was you who came in on your own. If any secrets are leaked from here, you'll be blamed for it. Edwin's face turned red with anger. What a shameless person. I can't believe the prestigious Hoffman family has raised someone like that. Sean stared at Justin with an intense gaze. Justin, he warned, don't be too arrogant. There will come a day when you will be humbled. Well, what else can you do besides threatening me? You're still stuck here, aren't you? You only have something to eat and drink because we provide it, retorted Justin haughtily. Even then, what we ate or drank wasn't provided by you, so why the arrogance? If you came to our house, we would also provide food and drink for you. Would you come or not? Zachary rolled his eyes, clearly unimpressed with this nonsense. You brat, Justin cursed, exasperated by the kid's relentless insults. You coward, you're nothing without your uncle. Zachary was not one to hold back, and it didn't matter if he was young. You, Justin glared at Zachary, his eyes burning with rage as he felt the urge to punch the little brat. Ha ha, Sean laughed unabashedly, giving Zachary a thumbs up. Zachary, that was perfect. Justin was truly nothing without Jeremiah. Asa result, his face darkened. You're a grown man, yet you still need your uncle to support you. Aren't you ashamed? Gavin said with an icy tone. Justin wore a gloomy expression, but he couldn't deny the truth. If it weren't for his uncle's support, he wouldn't have been able to survive in the Rogers family. This was his Achilles heel. Gavin, Zachary, let's not stoop to their level. Sean said, but he couldn't help but continue laughing. Justin was constantly picking fights with them, so they had to make him taste defeat at least once. HMPH. Gavin snorted, then turned to Zachary. Zachary, let's go out. Zachary got up and left with Gavin. Sean glanced at them, then turned his gaze to Edwin, who remained motionless. Edwin could tell that even though the two children were confined there, they still had some freedom. He suggested they go out and stroll around the entrance, a discreet attempt to send a message to Arisa. As for him, he would stay and keep Gideon and Justin occupied. Edwin gave Sean a look, signaling him not to go out either. Sean was unaware that Arissa had also arrived and was waiting by the entrance. However, he quickly understood from Edwin's gaze that he shouldn't follow the children out. He turned to Edwin. "Edwin, since you've just arrived, you must have left home quite early, right? Have you had breakfast yet?" "Before I had a chance to eat, I learned that the two children had been kidnapped. Old Mr. Graham originally intended to come here himself, but unexpectedly, he fell ill from anxiety on the way. I had no choice but to take him to the hospital. When I left, he was still unconscious." Edwin said this deliberately, but it was indeed the truth. "He's hospitalized again." Sean also started to worry. Darius' health wasn't as good as it used to be. "Unfortunately, yes." Edwin's brows furrowed deeply, his face etched with genuine worry. "Hasn't old Mr. Graham always been strong?" Upon hearing this, Gideon also began to worry. If they upset Darius to the point of causing harm, the consequences might be too much for them to bear. That was when he was young. Now, he has grown old and suffers from the usual ailments, including a weak heart. If he hadn't been concerned about the two children, he wouldn't have ended up in the hospital. He was recently discharged from the hospital, only to receive another shock. Edwin's face was filled with displeasure, making his accusation crystal clear. "I apologize. I'm confident that old Mr. Graham, being a fortunate man, will make a recovery." Gideon sighed quietly. Comforting them at this moment seems insincere, especially since it is our fault. Isn't it just a sickness that comes with old age? How can he blame us when his own health is deteriorating? Justin's gaze was filled with contempt. If old Mr. Graham doesn't recover, Benjamin will surely be upset. With a loud bang, Sean kicked the coffee table right in front of him. Chapter 1627. Sean couldn't contain his anger and pointed at Justin as he berated him. "Justin, are you even human? If you had any conscience, you wouldn't utter such words. If it were your uncle who had been driven to death by others, would you still be making such cold remarks?" In a fit of rage, he kicked the tea table, sending it flying towards Justin's foot. The pain caused Justin to rise in anger and engage in a fight with Sean, instantly throwing the scene into chaos. "Stop, don't fight." Gideon tried to intervene, but the two were entangled, and he ended up receiving an unexpected punch to his face. Gideon's nose started bleeding profusely, creating a gruesome sight. The two continued their intense brawl, paying no heed to anyone's attempts to separate them. "Stop." Gideon, clutching his nose, tried to pacify the two people who had exploded in anger. Seeing that he couldn't stop them, he had no choice but to call for help. "Someone, pull them apart. It wouldn't benefit any of them if they were to get hurt." Edwin sat to one side, not intervening in the dispute. Instead, he subtly aided Sean. Sean had been working in the hospital for many years and couldn't compare to Justin, who often fought outside. Justin felt his legs weaken. In an instant, he was on the ground, subdued by Sean. Sean grabbed his collar, delivering harsh blows to his face. "What kind of person are you? You don't have respect for elders or care for the young. Today, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your parents." The mention of his parents felt ironic to Justin as his father never cared for him. Fueled by anger, he quickly turned the tables, pinning Sean down. "What are you anyway? It's not your place to lecture me." Justin punched Sean's eye, but Sean retaliated with equal force. Fortunately, the security team arrived just in time, pulling the enraged individuals apart. Yet, they still struggled to get at each other, shouting threats. "Justin, you're just a lackey for Benjamin," Sean angrily exclaimed. "And who are you? Your own family can't tolerate you. You were born with a father but raised without one." Justin's retort was cutting, making Sean see red. "Sean, shut up." Justin almost broke free from the hold, eager to pummel Sean. "Did I hit a sore spot?" Sean retorted mockingly. "Now you know how it feels. Just a moment ago, you were spouting nonsense and refused to shut up. You ungrateful son. Bet you'd celebrate if your old man kicked the bucket." "Mr. Bailey, please stop. Mr. Justin is immature. Please don't take his words to heart." Gideon had no choice but to intervene. Justin might act recklessly if the provocation continued. It would be terrible if someone ended up dead. Sean forcefully broke free from the defense that held him back, his anger still not subsided. He was the one who started it. Nonsense, everyone here saw that you were the one who started it. You smashed into me first. Justin's face was dark, and his foot still hurt. It was definitely swollen. You deserved it. Sean was infuriatingly unapologetic. Is it my fault that your health is poor? Gideon was speechless. The room reeked of tension. In the courtyard, Gavin purposely avoided the guards while leading Timothy away. Mommy is waiting at the entrance for our news. If she sees us unharmed, she might be relieved. She's been waiting for so long and must be worried. I hope she can hold on. Timothy didn't want Orissa to come looking for them. The two brothers stealthily approached the door. They managed to remain unnoticed throughout their journey. As long as they didn't leave, they were still quite free here. The two brothers hid near the entrance, observing for a while. I didn't see Mom. Gavin stretched his neck out, but there was no one in sight. Did she go away? Zachary frowned, finding it hard to believe. The visibility isn't good from here. Shall we run to the entrance and check? Chapter 1628. Sure, let's charge over there. Gavin readily agreed. Gavin also nodded in agreement. They were hiding nearby, unable to see the area outside the door clearly. If they were to approach the entrance, Orissa would definitely spot them. The two young boys quickly made up their minds to dash towards the entrance when the count reached 3. It happened suddenly. The kids had concealed themselves near the door, so the guards initially didn't notice them. By the time they did, the kids were almost out. Don't run out. Go back inside. Both brothers were caught. They were just a hair's breadth away from escaping. Gavin and Zachary looked regretful, but upon noticing a car with what appeared to be Delmore's license plate not far away, they exchanged glances and started struggling. Gavin exclaimed, "Let go of me. You're hurting me." Zachary yelled, "Villain, release me. Otherwise, when Jeremiah returns, I'll inform him of everything and you'll be in trouble." Gavin warned, "If you don't let go, I'll bite you." Orissa was looking at her phone in the car when she suddenly heard the bodyguard mention Gavin and Zachary. She looked up and saw the two boys being held by the back of their collars, desperately trying to free themselves. Gavin, Zachary, Orissa grew anxious and wanted to get out of the car, but the bodyguard stopped her. "Mrs. Graham, please don't act rashly. It might be a trap." It seems that Gavin and Zachary are unharmed. After being reminded by the bodyguard, Orissa calmed down. The two boys really didn't seem to be in any danger. It appeared they were intentionally causing a commotion. What are our chances if we go over and rescue them now? Very slim. We don't have the numerical advantage, and our equipment is inadequate. The bodyguards kept a close eye on the entrance, wanting to rescue the kids, but the reality didn't allow it. As a mother, seeing her children right in front of her and not being able to save them made Orissa distressed. Since she spotted the two kids, her eyes never left them, fearing they might disappear at any moment. Her gaze scrutinized the boys. Seeing that Gavin and Zachary were unharmed, she felt somewhat relieved. Edwin had been inside for over an hour. According to their agreement, if he didn't come out within an hour, Orissa had to leave. However, Orissa didn't give up and chose to wait a little longer. Her patience paid off. She caught a glimpse of the children for a brief moment. Gavin and Zachary occasionally glanced at the car, wondering if Orissa had noticed them. "You two can't go out. Stop causing trouble and go back inside now." The guard scolded the two boys as he led them back inside. "Let us go. We're not going anywhere. We were just wandering around the entrance." Zachary tried to buy some more time. "The entrance is not a place for you to linger. Get inside." The guards escorted them into the courtyard and then released them. The two brothers glared defiantly at them but had no choice but to head inside. They couldn't escape, and struggling was futile. They hoped Orissa saw them unharmed and felt relieved. HMPH. When Jeremiah returns, we will tell him how you've been bullying us. Zachary intentionally raised his voice in protest. Orissa had rolled down the car window slightly and heard his words clearly. "When we're free, we'll settle the score with you. Zachary did it on purpose. He was assuring her that they were still safe for now. Orissa felt relieved. She stayed until she couldn't see the kids' figures anymore, then had the bodyguards drive away. Instead of returning to the hotel to rest, she went to Jeremiah's workplace. If he wasn't at home, it is probable that he would be at work. It would be advisable to go there to locate him. Coming back without any results was not in line with her usual approach. Orissa was ready for this situation. To generate public attention, Orissa had Bradley share information online, indicating that the two children were missing. Chapter 1629. Mrs. Graham, we might not encounter Jeremiah there. The bodyguard was aware that not everyone was allowed to enter Jeremiah's workplace. He wanted to advise Orissa to rest first before making any plans. Waiting at home seemed like a more feasible option. Let's proceed, Orissa insisted. Whether or not she would get to meet him was another matter. The bodyguard had no choice but to drive towards the location, but they were stopped a few hundred meters away. Whom are you looking for? The guards approached to check their identities, alert to the possibility of espionage. I'm looking for Jeremiah. Here's my ID. I'm Gavin and Zachary's mother. Orissa revealed her identity, but the other party didn't recognize her. They found it hard to believe that she had come here looking for Jeremiah. Commander Hoffman won't see you. Please leave. They returned her ID, signaling them to leave promptly. Orissa leaned by the window. I came from his house. It's urgent. Can you please inform him? If he doesn't want to see me, I'll leave. Sorry, we haven't received any instructions to let you in. If you want to talk to him, call his private line, or we might have to arrest you. The other party was very serious, suspecting that she might be a journalist or someone trying to obtain information under false pretenses. Fine, let's go then. As the guard wasn't giving them any chance, Orissa had no choice but to instruct her bodyguard to drive away. They had just reversed their car when Orissa overheard the guards talking. Wasn't someone supposed to fix the internal network today? Not sure. I haven't seen anyone. Commander Hoffman is getting impatient. Last time, the technician couldn't fix it, and it keeps causing issues. The IT department is not up to par. If this continues, Commander Hoffman will surely lose his temper. We can't send out or receive any information. Orissa's eyes lit up. She then told her bodyguard to stop the car. Is your network down? Orissa approached, trying to find out. The guards exchanged glances, realizing that she had overheard their conversation. They glared at Orissa. Why are you prying into things? Pretend you heard nothing. Hurry up and leave. I mean no harm. I'm also an IT technician. Maybe I can help you solve the problem. Orissa didn't want to miss this opportunity. If she could gain access, she would surely find Jeremiah. Even if you are, we dare not accept your help. This wasn't an ordinary place. Leaking even a single piece of information could compromise sensitive data, and they didn't have the authority to allow that. Orissa was also aware of this concern. How about you inform your superiors? Let them know that there's a technician who has volunteered. I have a clean record, and you can investigate me. Once the network is fixed, you can even take credit. The guards were somewhat tempted but also knew about Jeremiah's temper. If he found out they had leaked information, it might not result in commendation but punishment. However, considering Jeremiah's recent frustration with this issue, they also wanted to recommend her. Are you an undercover agent? Do you really know Commander Hoffman? Yes, as long as you tell him I'm Gavin and Zachary's mother, he'll know who I am. He will definitely see me. Orissa's tone was confident. She didn't seem to be in a hurry. If she could gain access, she would do so. If not, she would return to the city and continue to wait. After all, she would still get to see Jeremiah. Seeing her certainty, they thought Jeremiah might indeed know her. Afraid to offend their superior, they hesitated but decided to report her arrival to Jeremiah's security officer. Wait a moment, I'll inform them of your arrival. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate your help. Orissa expressed her gratitude and waited patiently. She was unsure whether Jeremiah would allow her to enter. Jeremiah might choose to intentionally create obstacles for her. Maybe he would accuse me of attempting to steal classified information and arrest me as a means to intimidate Benjamin. A myriad of thoughts had already overwhelmed Orissa's heart in a brief moment. Chapter 1630. Jeremiah's bodyguard, Joseph Wahlberg, received a phone call from the sentry post. He was a bit perplexed to hear Orissa's name as he was quite unfamiliar with her. Does Commander Hoffman know her? She even came all the way to the military to look for him. Is she causing trouble? Just as the guard was about to dismiss the visitor, Jeremiah emerged from the conference room. Come with me to the base prison now, Jeremiah commanded before striding ahead, his face stern. Joseph hastily notified the sentry post, not daring to report that someone wished to see Jeremiah. As soon as he hung up the phone, he rushed to start the car. The prison was several kilometers away from their training base. Whose call was that? You look perplexed, Jeremiah asked casually while in the car as he had noticed Joseph's strange behavior. Ah, Joseph was taken aback, then quickly regained his composure and explained, it's a call from the checkpoint. They said a woman is looking for you. She claims to be Gavin's mother and someone else's. As it was a stranger, Joseph didn't remember the details clearly. I told them to send her away. Jeremiah frowned slightly. He knew Gavin was Benjamin's son. His wife is here. Does she know Benjamin has been arrested? She's quite audacious. Have someone take them to the family quarters and wait for my return there. Jeremiah instructed as he continued with his work. Had it not been for the urgent matter at the prison, he would have preferred to meet with Benjamin's wife first. Commander Hoffman, do you really know her? Why am I not aware of this? Joseph glanced at the rearview mirror. She's Benjamin's wife. Jeremiah's mouth twitched slightly as he continued to sort through the documents. Joseph's eyes widened in disbelief. But why would she come looking for you here? Shouldn't she have gone to your house instead? Joseph assumed it was a personal matter as he was still unaware that Benjamin had been arrested. At the moment, only the higher-ups knew about Benjamin's arrest. Don't talk nonsense. Focus on driving. Jeremiah didn't say much. At the sentry post, Orissa was naturally turned away. However, within 2 minutes of leaving, they were stopped again. Unaware of the situation, they thought their identities were under suspicion and would be investigated. However, they were eventually allowed to pass. Orissa was a bit puzzled, but as they entered the military area, she saw Jeremiah's jeep coming out. Orissa glanced over but couldn't make out who it was. Once inside the military zone, they went through security checks before being taken to the family quarters. All electronic devices were temporarily confiscated. Seeing what appeared to be Jeremiah's dormitory, Orissa was quite confused. She wondered why they had been brought to the dormitory area. Miss York, please wait here. Commander Hoffman is still busy. If you need anything, feel free to tell me. The guard poured water for them and stood guard at the door. Thank you. Orissa didn't understand what Jeremiah was up to, but they had no choice but to wait there. It wasn't appropriate to wander around here. With no phones, computers, or anything to pass the time, waiting was unbearable. After waiting for a while, she started to feel a pressing need to use the restroom. As soon as she stood up, someone entered through the door. Miss York, do you have any instructions? Seeing the guard so nervous, Orissa paused for a moment, then awkwardly said, I need to use the restroom. The restroom is a bit further inside. The guard pointed her in the right direction. Orissa nodded and walked in that direction. She could feel the guard's gaze still on her. As she turned around, she met the guard's cautious eyes. Orissa smirked. Even in Jeremiah's dormitory, they were still cautious of her. This place was really not suitable for a visit. If it hadn't been for sheer necessity, she wouldn't have come here in search of Jeremiah. After using the restroom, Orissa refrained from wandering around. Instead, she promptly returned to the living room and resumed waiting for Jeremiah there. The place was impeccably organized, and she refrained from touching anything. She simply quenched her thirst with some water. The two bodyguards also entered, expressing their concern. Mrs. Graham, would you care for something to eat?